If you hear this, don't give up. No matter what.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Spinner Rack. I'm here with my boy PD. PD, say what's up, baby.
What's going on?
Hey, today we're going to be talking about Skeleton Crew. Yes, that hit that once again Disney and Lucasfilm has been able to do. Anybody who doesn't like it is a sucker, but that's my opinion right now. Let's get into this right now and talk to PD about it. Just to give a little background, Skeleton Crew is about a group of New Republic kids who get lost in space. They find a ship that's buried in the planet that they're in, and they take off, and no one seems to know where they are. They're from a planet called Amblin that everybody thinks is a mystical or treasure.
All right, all right, you're going.
I just want to set up the premise, and then we can get into it.
That isn't the premise.
It is the premise.
What's the name of the town?
The planet is called Amblin.
Okay, so these are some regular. This is a regular place in space. Yes. They are regular kids in a JJ. Was it a JJ Abrams? Like a JJ Abrams?
Not JJ Abrams.
I'm saying the style of fast-paced.
I'm saying more like Zemeckis.
What?
Zemeckis.
Okay, you got. It's like saying Spielberg now. I'm saying for today's audience, it would be a J.J. Abrams, the way he's taking like kids running around, like in The Force Awakens or Star Trek, like that sort of thing, of that sort of energy. So it's basically these kids who are doing their day-to-day school stuff, but they have like the speed racers in their ability. Their bikes are almost like the Return of the Jedi racers, right? So they have this regular life, but they have the idea that there's like the idea of becoming one of the lead kid is like his idea of being a Jedi. But the girls in the show, they're interested in just racing, right? And then we see a hint of a bully. So we get this normal lifestyle, but at the same time, the kid says, I found something. Even he's in the woods, on his speeder, and he finds what he thinks is the Jedi temple. And going in there, once the girls hear it, they go on their own to try to find the Jedi temple, and they work together and they open up this thing. They mistake him. They say it's the lead boy, but it's not. The elephant kid kind of sparks the ship to start revving up. There's also the father character that's introduced of the young boy, and regretfully, for the kids, because they're without their parents, get shuttled off into space. And when they go out to space, that's when the myth of their homeland becomes a big thing. Because this is like the Gilligan's Island or anything where someone's lost in space, but they're just kids now lost in space. They have this robot that's kind of into this pirating, so it feels like there's a pirate element to space travel, right? They have this pirate rules, so somehow that's going to come into play, and they go to this. It seemed like they went to the planet that Ant-Man and those characters went to. So they went to this kind of pirate planet or something you'd see in the Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's where we get the hint that where they're at, which was a boring go-to-school type place, sounds like some sort of utopia with riches, like the unknown land. But we get to see it that's the only reason I wanted to say, we get to see a normal place, and when we get to the pirate area of the universe, they see it as something else. So, and you get all the hijinks of the Goonies. What is it? What's that movie? J.J. Abrams, he also did that, what's that thing? That space one?
Did he do Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
No, that's not him. Super 8. That's the one with the kids. Or even if you go to, what's that thing? I think on the show on Netflix. But that's horror. But yeah, so it's basically your Goonies in space, your Super 8 in space, and your Stranger Things in space. but they wind up in the Star Wars thing. So we start with the racers type stuff, and it leads you into this pirates in space, the area in space where we have the space kind of pirates. I think they kind of simplified the they simplified the design, so they just have people in kind of helmets, but I think it kind of works for the show, and as they go along, they get into a bad place where they get thrown in the dungeon, and as they get thrown in the dungeon, they meet what they were looking for, a Jedi. All right, so we get to see this. We obviously reviewed the trailer, and if I'm on my business.
No, they were not looking for a Jedi.
Yes, he said he looked for a Jedi temple.
No, he wasn't looking for a Jedi temple. That he thought that it could
He
be.
said he
Jedi.
wanted to be a Jedi by saying he wanted to save the universe, and kids said, that sounds like you want to be a Jedi.
You're arguing about stuff and just saying the
You
point.
just want to fight. You just like fighting. You like trying to prove yourself right. You like hearing your own voice.
You do most of the talking, Petey. What are you talking about? If there's anyone listening to their own voice, it's you. What are we arguing about this on a show? What is the matter with you, man?
You always argue on the show.
Oh my gosh.
Keep blinking out. So we get introduced to Wim. We got KB.
Wim is the main character. Was one of the main characters. The boy who finds the ship.
He doesn't know it's a ship. He thinks it's a Jedi temple.
Yes, we know that. But the ship, right? He finds the ship. I hope you guys see the madness I got to deal with something.
Now you're trying to say you're on the other side of it?
I'm clear.
Out of here. Out of here. I'm censoring myself.
So the question is, what was your take on it? Let's just cut to our individual takes because clearly we watched two different shows here.
What show did you watch?
The one the rest of America watched and enjoyed and loved and stuff like that. The one Wim, with his precociousness, he finds this. He's late for class. He misses his exam, and so he goes trying to play around, and he finds this starship. And then, of course, the girls come by after he talks about it. The girls come and basically commandeer it, and one of the girls actually becomes the captain of the ship. Not even Wim. You'd figure he would be the captain, but no. This pirate ship, this girl, because she basically says she killed the pirate captain, becomes the boss of the ship, right?
Yeah, I'm iffy on that. I was iffy on the space pirates in Star Wars. I think
Star Wars is huge space pirates. I mean, there's so many.
But not that sort of. You kill the captain. Now you're the captain.
How else do you become a captain with a space pirate? You got to show you're better than the last captain. So, in fact, what's pretty good is that we see the opening scene in the first episode. The pirates take over this ship, and the captain, who's wearing this big gray mask, comes out and says, "Hey, I told you I would get you. It's been lean years, but I told you I'll help you out and get you guys some stuff right here and there." Now, look, they break into the vault, and what do they find? Like $1 frigging $1. And of course, the one of the guys, the wolf-looking guy, basically takes over and says, "Yo, I'm running up, Captain. You aren't doing a good job." And we end up meeting.
But since I have to continue the show without Mars for some strange reason, I don't know what happened to him, world. But he has decided that I was right. That my take on the characters was the right way to go. This is, I just know things. I just know things about movies.
All these characters again later on.
Basically, say what you said because you froze. You froze again. What's the name? What's that? Breathe and stop. For real? What you got? All right, so go.
I don't even know what you said.
I said you froze.
Right. But what did you say? You were saying something.
I said I was right. You agreed with me since you. I basically did what you would do. I was stuck, so I came up with what I basically said I was right. So.
You're crazy. Yo, you need to get off that coquito this weekend, bro. So
Red Eagle.
I think one of the great things about this new show, and I think this is the strength of this show coming out, is that it really is trying to be much more open to everyone, and it's just having fun. And I think one of the things we get from this show is there's a lot of fun, there's a lot of adventure. These kids coming from this mystery planet that everybody's looking for is like really a whole different twist, and we don't know. It's probably going to end up being, and people are already mooting the point that because this planet is in the New Republic after the Star Wars saga, it's very possible that it'll turn out to be a bad planet, but we don't know for sure what's happening. But the point is, this whole world that we're seeing Jedi's, not Jedi's, we're seeing pirates, which is in Star Wars. We go back to the New Hope where we have our boy Jabba, who's not necessarily a pirate, but he's a robber, he's a king, he's a thief.
They're freebooters.
The freebooters, you can call them mercenaries, whatever. But these are the guys we're seeing, and also the look of the place. Look at how realistic. You got the character. I don't know what is his name. The one with the blue trunk. That's
Oh, the elephant.
The elephant, right? The elephant guy is called. I'll tell you right now. It's called
the elephant in the room.
The kid is called Neil, an unidentified elephant-like alien boy. This is what it says in.
He's the Ned Leeds of the story.
And do you really believe he's real? I don't know how they've done it, but it's like, wow, you think he's living real, they're interacting, they're talking, and this is a great thing with the show. Of course, I don't want to contrast this with The Acolyte, which was so divisive, or even a show like Obi-Wan, which was also very divisive. Here, this one, I think we're going to have a very positive spin on this particular show so far if it continues along this way. The fact that when we look at this stuff, we see the episode that when the pirates break into the ship that they're taking off, the very first episode, it's almost like a take of when Vader's breaking to the New Republic ship in Star Wars: A New Hope. Princess Leia is giving the thing to R2-D2, but of course the opposite. The pirates are breaking in, they're taking it on. It's just a great shot going in and how they go about it. This whole world seems realistic. It feels real. You see that it looks dirty, used in, and that's what we like about it there. What else? We have the aliens, the variety of aliens that you see here. They're unidentified. They have bumps and mumps and scrapes and looks and eyes and noses and hands that all look different, and yet they look for real. Like I was saying with Neil, it looks fantastic in and of itself. I can say that this, to me, has been one of the better since the introduction of The Mandalorian that our future employer Disney has done a great job of doing.
I just want to say, this is the one thing I want to say, which I think we talked about in an episode before, but we're kind of trying to point out that Star Wars is kind of taking the ability to do all these like wide shots and great locales, and they kind of made it extremely, sorry to say, boring. We didn't say that. That wasn't our assessment of it as a group. But ultimately, I just want to give an example. Like, where are we? I can't see you right now.
I'm right here.
Okay, cool. No, I didn't see you on my screen. I had to fix my screen. Right? So I'm not gonna, this is not to see the audio, right? We have these cool locales, right? But it's very dry, right? So we've got not even Star Wars had clutter, but now we have these extreme wides, we have these setups, right? And we have, something interesting going on in the foreground, but there's a lot of just walking around, no emotion when you walk around, right? That sort of thing. So we have, interesting characters, but they're not doing stuff. In the other thing, there's always action on the screen. So this here, we just meet, walk, just to show you that we did a hanger perfectly, and then we got standing around. This is the problem. This is one of the better shows that people like, but at the same time, there's it's not even what Star Trek. Star Trek had switched things around, but it's like saying we're taking on this thing, we're doing science, so everything starts to get like just set up and walking. Now, when you had Mandalorian, it made sense because he was it was doing a Western. So it's like, okay, we have set up, we're going to something, there's time factored in there. That dynamic as you go to Space Fair kind of slows things up. And if you have to do less episodes, do less episodes. But anything you can do to keep it moving, keep that thing moving. And that's what this kid shows has. It's a lot of motion. That's what Force Awakens had for it. A lot of motion, a lot of visuals to see. When you see the escape of the Millennium Falcon, you know, the person's pulling stuff out of the destroyer. You got this look? Okay, we got, but they have her hanging upside down, pulling stuff in. You want it to be visual. So this series has been, just as an example, no insult, just like to the thing, is just saying this is what they're doing to kind of highlight us being in, if we were kids, what we would see, we were in that universe. Everything is moving fast paced, that sort of thing, not walking around. These two characters meet each other that know each other. As actors, they're like, we can't mess up our outfit, so we can't embrace, we can't do the Luke and what's the name. We've had in this thing, the kids are interacting, the girls in art, they're fighting, they have the banter, the back and forth, and so that's what we were hoping for this. And the hard part is when we got to Jedi, we turned the younglings into monks. So it's like they went too far into the monk thing. When we saw Luke Skywalker wearing kind of a gi and whatnot, he was a swashbuckler.
We're not going to go against the younglings and stuff. But we can.
I'm saying you got swords, and they would like turn them into monks. Keep the action going. Fun. Move it.
Your initial point in Shoka was great. Now let's not move off of that. I think you're right, and I'm shocked that I'm actually agreeing with you, because I'm gonna have to take a look at, probably take a pill or something later to bring you back to wherever I was. Yeah. But I think that it definitely, it was a great point that you brought up. We all like the Shoka, but you know, it did feel like they were shooting for the numbers, right? Like, this is what's one shot, this is what we're going to do. But where was the dynamism in that particular shot? How was the people moving? You know, basically, it's like you just said, let's just walk across and everybody just pretend you're doing something, as opposed to, hey, let's just act natural. And this is they have a great cantina scene. They come upset. Wim comes there with Neil, the elephant boy, and they sit down and say, hey, what are you going to have? We're going to have what he had. You know, and then, you know, he opens up, and when he has to pay, they discuss about what's happening. But when they have to pay, the guy realizes the value of what they have is so much more than what the kid has. And the kid doesn't realize that he's like basically yelling to everybody, "Hey, we have tons of money. Come and get us." And the fight scene is pretty interesting. But what I want to talk about Jude Law. What was your take on Jude Law?
Obviously, he's a fallen Jedi. For some reason, he stayed in jail all this time, so we need to find out the reason why he stayed in jail all this time, when obviously he could have gotten free. And the thing is, the problem, now we know that everyone wants to get to this utopia. When and if, now we know it's not about them traveling to space like what's those guys? The kid in what's that thing? Time Bandits. They're gonna get back home at some point. The series is not gonna be them being lost and growing up in space with Jude Law. It's about them getting back to the home planet. So the thing is who's gonna rob the planet? Will Jude Law, as a fallen Jedi, bring everyone there? Will he steal the riches and or let the people know that this utopia that everyone thought of is actually here? You know, so that's, for me, that's his. I'm not sure if that was answering your question, but for me, that's what I see the future of Jude Law as, a fallen Jedi. And will he dishonor, do something treasonous to the kids, you know?
I mean, interesting take. I actually see Jude Law as, what if Han Solo was a Jedi, right? And you had that power. You know, the lovable rogue, the one who's charming. You know, he is the captain at the very beginning of the show. We don't see his face, but he has the mask around him. And he's like telling his men, the pirates, that, hey, I've got you the successful hit, and then finds out that there's nothing in the vault. So they throw him in the brig, basically. And so I think the reason why he's there, he doesn't have a ship. And then he hears, oh, these guys have a ship that they can go with. Well, he's like, well, hey, what am I doing in prison? Let me get out of here. You know, and so that's what commences the revelation. I see, and I hope, Jude Law is a pretty good actor. He's been in quite a few shows. Um, you give him stuff, he can definitely perform.
Except for Captain Marvel. They didn't give him anything in that.
Didn't give him anything, but he wasn't bad. Just didn't give him much to do, but he wasn't bad. But what I see is that the pirates, and let's say in Star Trek lore, for example, there's a lot of issues with pirates, um, where they're constantly threatening planets, where they are, we see that they're committing crimes, so people are going after them. And we've seen this in the Mandalorian. We've seen it in several of the books and stuff like that. And the question here is, the guy who took over from Jude Law is the big bad, I guess, the new pirate captain, and the one who, I guess, is in charge of the space station that they're in right now. It's what is he going to do when he finds out the value of these kids? How are they going to? Well, are they going to go back? I mean, they can't expose, I guess, uh, what do they call us, paradise to these scum of the earth? I'm trying, because that's what they are. They're the scum of the earth, of the universe, because it's not Earth. They're not on Earth. It's scum of the universe. There's been things where they've said that these group of people are supposed to meet up with Ashoka. They're supposed to go to another galaxy. I don't know how true any of that stuff is. Probably just stuff that they sent out to just throw people off the trail. But it would be, like you said, it would be weird to have these kids go all the way out to a new galaxy, like where Ashoka is, when they should be going back home. And especially, child actors grow up really fast. In one season, these kids are going to look totally different.
Well, I think that's the thing. I think this is not what I think George Lucas wanted to have younger and younger, but at the same time, have do more Jedi stuff. I think this will. I mean, I've been a fan of watching. I think the thing is they've gotten rid of the Jump the Shark site. Like they basically killed the Jump the Shark site. So all the issues the Jump the Shark had of people growing up, that sort of thing, adding new characters to build buzz around it. This is common practice. Like no one is against. Like the thing is, listen, like Voyager was going along, and they said usually you add a kid. They added a babe, and it made Voyager extremely successful. So ultimately, these kids can grow up. I think the one show that showed that you can have actors grow. Obviously, no, the Brady Bunch being one, Facts of Life being another. Now, people won't remember the Facts of Life as a positive kind of thing, but it was a successful show, even though they tried to bury it. They put it on Saturdays, and it still killed in this thing. That's how they got as old as they did, and they kept getting insulted, but they kept doing well. So, I'm all for letting the actors grow up. I wouldn't be too hard on them as far as their weight goes, because at the same time you have craft services. You're going to expect the kids to gain weight. You can't get around it. So, and you don't know if, like, there's a kid who was on one of those Disney shows, the Apple TV, and he was heavy set. He was really a big guy, and now he's in like a Turner and Hooch movie, and he's thinner than me. So, it's like anything can happen as far as these kids growing up. So, and I just think this is a move in the right direction. Get these things moving faster. Put some energy into it. We'd like to see that more with the Jedis, and not the Jedi's getting mowed down by one person, like in what's the name?
I have to hold. I hate shows that only move fast. Everything has to be done in 1 hour or whatever. It has to be.
No, I need some speed. I don't need walking around. That's all I mean. That's all I mean. No walking around.
Not necessarily walking around, but I think that there has to be movement for a reason, not movement because we gotta get to the next scene. We gotta get to the next scene. I felt that how Obi-Wan felt like. I kept on feeling like we were just jumping from scene to scene as opposed to organically moving here. Like these kids, boom, they find the ship. The ship takes them out of their planet, takes them to the piracy. It's constantly moving, yes, but there's a reason why. And so let's not, hey, let's go to another planet to find this, and it just automatically happens. This is the way we know. It's just we need it to be organized, because then it'll feel much more real. But getting back to Jude Law and stuff like that, I think that the question here is Jude Law. Is he going to be the Jedi? Sorry, is Wim looking at him? Is he going to be like the Jedi guy who fights everything and beats everybody up, or is he going to be like someone who's going to be now the mentor to someone like Wim? hey, you know what, Wim? I think you may have Jedi potential. Are we going to continue that, or is it
I
just going to
don't.
be you don't want that? Or I'm just asking the question. What do you think about that?
I don't want force potential, force nothing. I don't. I don't want these kids. The thing is, I think, and this is not the same. Although this go to your other point of the, um, this is another scene which we're not going to show. We're not going to play the audio. Um, can you see Tom Cruise?
Yes, Tom Cruise.
Okay, so this is a scene in Ghost Protocol, right? So it's like they're just supposed to get on the train, right? So they're talking and they're like, "Oh, we gotta get on the train," right? So they're running, get on the train and all this stuff, and all it is should be get on the train, get to the compartment. But they're like, "Oh, we gotta look for this thing." They set up this thing, making it much longer than they need to be. So I'm not talking about making a scene where you just like have action for no reason, because I think Spike Lee had done it before, where he had done Dolly Track in a bank, which was not like he just almost got hit, ran away from that. Now they're gonna try to put their face while they're running. Like all this stuff is unnecessary to me. Like it's just trying to add some action to a scene. So I'm not talking about that. Just in while you're doing your stories, do what you just said. Everything has some meaning. Not having some pitfalls to get to the next scene to say, oh, okay, this is how hard it is because they didn't get to the right train car. So then there was what was your other point that you just said? Damn it, I forgot what I was going to say about that. But
About whether or not Jude Law's character will be a mentor to Wim, or whether he's just, the Jedi guy for them.
well, one of the things this is a story I want to do with the X-Men, where a villain wipes their mind and makes the school of gifted youngsters into an actual school. Like obviously the New Mutants go to school, but I wanted the regular humans to be in the X-Men mansion, not knowing that they were X-Men, or they sought to figure it out, but they don't have any powers. So the drama of that would be around these cool characters and not have powers is more interesting to me. So you get the character looking at what Jude Law's saying and say, wow. Because we've gotten so many Jedi, so many people have grown up to be Jedi. We have so many shows where they have magic and they didn't have magic, and they say, oh, you developed your magic powers. I would just love for them all to be regular Joes. If anyone gets some powers, which they can't do, would be the Elephant Kid. But they're not going to do that. They have to give it to the kid that they can see growing up into somebody cool, to be the Miguel, or the of what's that show? The Miguel of
Right?
what's that?
Vito?
No, Cobra Kai. Yeah, Cobra Kai. So Cobra Kai, or the son of Johnny in that thing where they like turn into these real high things. It's like I just want I did it for this one. Just had the kids running around and running into what the Force Awakens was supposed to be, but not tossing around. Here's this lightsaber. Here's that. Everything is like cool. So it's in between Spider-Man in the MCU and Force Awakens. The parts that we liked of the Force Awakens. That's all I got to say about it. But right now, it's in a good place. Once you start throwing in, once they start talking like Anakin, I'm gonna be out. Can't do it, man.
Totally understand. I'm not even gonna fuss about that. There's one thing that I wanted to bring up also regarding the show with. I like the characters. The kids really seem real to me. Wim and Neil definitely seem like they have that when they were fighting with the lightsabers and that interacting. They really seem like they are real friends. Again, I don't know how they do the CGI with the Wim character, but you also have the banter between the girls too. And even when one is not happy about doing something, she's talking back to the other. But did we see the one that looks like Jordy with the? I thought the
Yeah, they totally stole the Geordie thing. Only thing that they made it flip up from time to
right.
time.
That's what I'm saying. Like, whoa, what? Then why did she need it? If she, this is. Do you want a 7-year-old to be able to see all spectrums and make wild noises and stuff like that? So I thought that was really really cool in and of itself. Another thing too, Jaleel White. Did you catch
Yeah,
Jaleel
I caught
White
Jaleel
as
White. I
Bill
know he was
Urkel
called
in
Jaleel
Star Wars?
White.
I was like, I saw it. I was like, yo, no way. I said, could that be Jaleel? No way.
Definitely. When they first showed
I
him,
had,
I was like, why are they sitting on this guy for a while? The next, oh damn, it's Jaleel. It's definitely Jaleel. I mean, he's back. You know, he's doing character stuff now, but it's going to be interesting to see where he goes with this. You know, is it going to be a character they're going to develop, or you know, we'll see what happens. But
I mean,
yeah,
what?
I caught him.
Yeah, he was hanging out with the new pirate captain, the Wolf, what Brutus, I think it is. Uh,
Mhm.
and don't forget the whole key. You know, this reminds me so much of was it Treasure Island? You know,
Mhm.
of pirate movies, and this is it's another thing that I like. It harks back to the old movies that they used to have. You saw these old movies that used to be on Channel 5 and Channel 9 of pirates of the Caribbean or whatever. It kind of reminds me of that. You know, you have the pirates, you have the kids trying to find adventure, they're trying to get out of trouble, and love that about it. And so I'm all in this right now. Whoever I don't know. Let me see who. Let me go back to the wiki. The director of this is John Watts. John Watts' name sounds familiar to me. John,
That guy used to do was supposed to do the Fantastic Four.
he is best known for directing Spider-Man films with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home. This guy has spot on, and it was created by him and Christopher Ford. Um, he's a producer and actor best known. His collaboration with director John Ford, including Clown, Cop Car, and Spider-Man: Homecoming. You know, so I think this is really they've done a really good job at getting this down pat. The producers are someone named Susan McNamara, and if or the executive producers, Ford and John Watts, but of course they always name Favreau, Filoni, Kennedy, you know, as the ones there, but those are more suits. But the person who's actually doing, I guess, probably day to day is Susan McNamara and John Bartnicki. I don't know. I don't have enough on them at all to say what they did in the past. But
I
it's
think he was. I think he was lined up. What was it? He was lined up for the Fantastic Four at one point, but it didn't. It fell through. So, but yeah,
if this becomes a hit, he's going to be even more in demand. I think they're doing another Spider-Man movie, number 4 or 5 or something like that. So,
yeah, those ones kind of feel like he's forced into those. Though. You know what I mean? There's not much you can do with those. I think Feige kind of runs those and says, "This is what it is. This is what you get." You know. I mean, Spider-Man ended with him not knowing his friends, so I think he planned that, and then just start another series where we get a new girl, then his old girl finds out, hey, I remember you. It's like a little too cosmic for me, but anyway, I think we might need to close this one out.
yeah, so that's all I got for you. Hey, if you like what you hear, give me a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Spinnerack.
We are out.
Oh, sorry. One last tidbit. There's a scene when Wim and the young girl, I forgot her name, the one who becomes the captain of the ship. Her name is her name is Fern, right? And
Mhm.
Fern, she's very rebellious. She has her own. She does the speeder bike and everything like that. Well, Fern, there's this video called "Me Voy Enamorar." It's a Venezuelan group, and they have a video called "Me Voy Enamorar." I can't even pronounce that word. Enamorando. So it's these two, a boy and a girl, who were sitting in the principal's office because of how they misbehaved, and then they start talking to each other, and that's how, of course, that's how she finds out. But it's an interesting take because they didn't eventually get together. Naturally, that's not that these two are going to do, but I'm just saying. That scene reminded me so much of that video, that reggaeton video. I was like, yo, boy, this is so wild. I wonder if the author and writers is watching it. But of course, they didn't take off. They stayed and waited for the father to show up. But that's a little tidbit. Don't worry about it. Spinnerack out.
God. We are out.